G'day, my name's Chris, and this is a special episode dedicated to Dear Scotty. Welcome. If you're new to the channel, Promises is a segment that I do about what our politicians are and aren't doing in the space of renewable technologies like EVs, battery storage, solar, wind, and well, more. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Now, before we go any further, quick little caveat here, shall we say. This is all 100% renewably powered, okay? And there's been no coal burnt in making this episode. So I thought it kind of timely in this current climate of ours where the country is literally burning. There is smoke choking our towns and cities, and there are people doing extraordinary things to help save it. I feel that the next few stories I'm about to present to you will tie really well together if I set the mood. That's better. Now, you see that guy? Yeah, that's Scott Morrison, who's decided that when the tough get going, you gotta have a holiday in Hawaii. Hashtag where's ScoMo? Yeah, well, because he's been working really, really hard for 7 straight months. Where, in May this year, he had a holiday in Fiji. And heck, everyone deserves a break from work, don't they? Right? Yeah. What's that, Scott? Miss Nixon can't have dinner whilst the state is burning, but you can have a holiday while the country burns down, people lose their homes, firefighters go without the equipment they need to fight the fires. What? You did do everything you could and you re-announced the same $11 million from 2018 for aerial firefighting equipment? Yeah, I see. Very good, very good, very good. And what's that? Fixing our climate crisis, drought, and our need to move to clean and green renewable power isn't a priority right now. Instead, you provide our nation with thoughts and prayers because, well, that helps. Yes, it does. I'm sorry, but honestly, how bad is that Scott Morrison, eh? Yes, take a holiday. Have a lay on the beach and think about the people of Australia whilst you're sipping on that Mai Tai. Because I'm here to teach you about how Australia and, well, the world is doing it for themselves. But can't quite get there because... You see, Scott, our renewable power industries are actually hamstrung by red tape, a lack of grid infrastructure, and poor policy decisions that are affecting their ability to bring to the 80% of Australians who believe that we should be going to 100% renewable as soon as we can. All right? We're fortunate in Australia to have the largest continuous electricity grid in the world, which connects all the way from far up north to way down south. But with solar and wind farms popping up here, there, and well, everywhere, they either don't have access to the national grid or the new technology that they have is incompatible with the hardware that actually dates back to the 60s. There are solutions which hydro and solar powered operator Tony Flannery suggests that the government should require superannuation funds to invest a fixed percentage of their investments in renewable projects, and that this in turn will help pay for the upgrading of the national grid to accept more renewable energy. Now, I'm no stock market expert, but he suggests that by doing this, they could create bonds and have fixed interest rate return. I don't know. Economics. This controversial suggestion would mean that our super industry, who at present independently decide where to invest members' funds, like stocks, bonds, and real estate assets, would also have to have a portfolio of renewable projects. No doubt there will be people out there who won't like this, but seriously, how did we get the world's largest grid? Was it built for free? No! Taxpayers paid for it through what was then a government-owned electricity utility. Way back then. And, well, in this day and age of user pays, Bill Nye says it best. Nothing is for free. Deal with it, Scott. And so, that brings me to the next story, which thankfully is a positive one about how the Yallourn power station could be replaced by renewable technologies as early as 2023. The government actually did a lot more to help with legislation, funding, and, well, building out of the grid. Hey, you see what I did there, Scotty? Yeah. Okay, so Detailed by Sophie Vorath from the Renew Economy, she writes how a study commissioned by Environment Victoria and conducted by Reputex about how easily we could replace the Yallourn power station with 2.6 gigawatts of large-scale renewables, 0.3 gigawatts of small renewables, 0.6 gigawatts of big battery storage, and 0.7 gigawatts of a virtual power plant and other demand-side partitions. That sounds big, and I'll compare those numbers in a moment, but a brief on the Yallourn power station first. Located in the Latrobe Valley near Traralgon, this brown coal-fired thermal power station has like 6 generators and was built progressively from the 1920s through to the 1960s. It can output, best case scenario mind you, 1.4 gigawatts of power, which remains like the third largest power station in Victoria, supplying the state with about 22% of its electricity and 8% to the national electricity market. In the past 18 months, Yallourn Power Station has broken down no less than 33 times and has a decommission date of 2033. So there are some people right now starting to panic because building a coal power station takes 5 to 8 years. So do something, right? No, wrong. Let's rewind and put in context what the closure of the Yallourn Power Station will be and how it applies to renewable technologies. The 2.6 gigawatts of large-scale renewables, that is like wind and solar or pumped hydro, is 80% larger in capacity than Yallourn. Why? Because the wind doesn't always blow or the sun doesn't always shine. So you need to have residual capacity in the system and spread it across multiple sites. Next, the 0.3 gigawatts of small renewables and 0.6 gigawatts of battery storage is to help support the grid through periods of low generation. Oh, and that size of battery, by the way, is just 5 times larger than the first version of the Hornsdale battery. Okay, so finally, to also keep the lights on with fair income power, the study proposes the introduction of a 0.7 gigawatts of a virtual power plant. Now, what's a VPP, I hear you ask, Scotty? Well, that's what this home could be, or better yet, what has already been set up in Adelaide and Perth, where a home battery feeds energy from the solar panels into its own local battery and then supplies power to the grid when someone at the Australian market operator asks for it. I'll be bringing my full review of our Tesla Powerwall 2 very soon, but at present, this home can't send power into the grid. Why? Well, subscribe and you'll find out very soon. Anyhow, as you can see, this all seems very complex and, not very cheap, but there are businesses out there that are willing to pay for it and get us to 100% renewable tech, or 100% renewable and no CO2 and all that, way before 2050. Plus, installing this much hardware would, by my estimates, cost about $2.3 billion and can be done within 3 years. Compare that to a coal power station, which will cost $3 billion and take more than 8. Yeah. See the difference already? So, if you want to keep the lights on, the bills down, and emit no CO2, what do, Scotty? Well, you do what they've done in Egypt, where they've just taken the crown for the world's largest solar array of almost 1.8 gigawatts. Wow, look at this thing. It's a thing of beauty. Shame it wouldn't work here, with our lack of sun in our sunburned country. Yeah, and P.S., they're soon expanding this solar farm to 2.3 gigawatts. But wait a second, haven't I spoken once before about the Sun Cable project? Yeah, I have. Proposed to be built in Tennant Creek, the Sun Cable project will have about 15,000 hectares of solar panels producing 10 gigawatts of power to supply Darwin and Singapore. They're going to need a 3,750 kilometre undersea power cable and, the world's largest Tesla Giga battery configuration of 20 to 30 gigawatt hours. Side note, that could power San Francisco for more than a week. Sun need not apply. More importantly, it will mean that Singapore can replace its current reliance on liquid natural gas, which is about 90% of the energy mix, with clean green power. And I can't resist this, but apologies to Egypt in advance. That isn't a solar array. This is. So once again, we had the knowledge, we had the equipment, we had the space, we had the resources, we had the private backing. And importantly, we have a learning government, Singapore. And it's amazing how some can see the economic benefits in a $22 billion project, whilst others can't. Looking at you, Scotty. Now, before I start getting negative comments, and I honestly do welcome feedback, by the way, please know that I'm pointing out Scott Morrison's failings because, well, he is the Prime Minister who, to date, has just given us pure lip service, headline-grabbing lines, titles, things like that. And, well, he goes around the world, travels in his private plane, which costs $4,600 per hour to run. Gee, the context, $11 million for firefighting equipment and private plane, moving on. And he does nothing around, it's basically political nothingness. Yeah, that's the term. So, instead, I don't care who the leader is. If it's a leader of the opposition, hang on a second. Hey Google, who's the leader of the opposition?
Here's a summary from Wikipedia. The current leader of the opposition is Jeremy Corbyn, leader of the Labour Party. So,
insert current leader here, depending upon when you watch this, or whoever's in charge. Know that these fires, droughts, and, well, poor crop yields, air pollution, dangerously high temperatures will become more frequent and cost everyone so much more if we don't act now. So, put down that Mai Tai, get back home, and, well, start doing your job. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. If you want to see more content like this, please do subscribe. Thanks to my Patreons. And, well, if you do nothing, be good, be green.
I've been all in my bag. You been all in my business. You be all in your feelings. I've been all in them trenches. I've been all in my bag. You be all in my business. No, they notice me flexing. Fit in all in my fitness. I've been all in my bag. You been all